Welcome back to Awaken Atlanta. Tim Ray, Shannon McVeigh, continuing the conversation on the universal laws. What a lively show today, huh?
I know. It's always a lively show. That's why you guys need to get us on Roku.
Got on Roku television right now. We're also on there. So go to your Roku station and put in, or I guess download or add to your channel, UI Media. That's our channel name, UI Media, and you can watch us in your home, anytime you want. So
big screen, baby.
Yeah, right. So Sundal Roy, she's a multidimensional field worker and a Hieros Gamos coach, which I have no idea what that is. We're going to find out. Welcome, Sundal.
Hi, guys.
Wow, another beautiful woman. What is going on today?
Tim's excited.
Like one after another. What a job I have.
I know. You're so lucky.
I'm sitting around all these beautiful women here.
All right. Now he's going to stop hitting on you for 2 seconds so we can get into this. The multidimensional field worker in Hieros Gamos. What does that mean? Are we even saying it right?
Yeah, Hieros Gamos. Gamos. Definitely saying it right. So I'll explain Hieros Gamos first. Hieros Gamos just basically means, in Greek, it means sacred union. So a lot of people think that means like sacred union between a man and a woman, and it does. But it's also sacred union within your own internal masculine and feminine energies, which basically is the ascension pathway to God. So it's ultimately sacred union with God. And then that gets reflected externally, according to the law of correspondence, as within, so without, by a sacred union partnership or a divine.
Wait a second. Is that the law? Wait, real quick. Is that the law of gender, talking about the masculine and femininity that's in each of us? Okay.
Okay. So what's the law of correspondence? You mentioned that related to that. Explain that to me.
Okay. So the law of correspondence is basically, and this is basically the second hermetic principle. It's, it's as within, so without, or as above, so below. So it's like the idea that we can understand the higher dimensions and even kind of understand God, kind of within the limits of human perception, by understanding the self. So as within, everything is a mirror reflection of what's happening within us. So it's pretty deep, but it's like... It can be seen, if you look at, like, the structure, the architecture of a lung, it actually looks like the branches of a tree, because it's showing that, the outside is reflecting the inside. I mean, we're so connected to trees, as we exhale, they inhale, and vice versa. Similarly, like our lymphatic system actually mirrors the architecture of like a galaxy, and then also like, universes. So, everything is like a hologram of a hologram.
No, interesting, because, that's one example of how we were created here on Earth, and how the Earth is a living entity is probably our relationship between trees and humans. That we breathe in CO2, we breathe out. I mean, breathe in oxygen, we breathe out CO2, and just the opposite for the trees. It's like there's a homeostasis here, and that we're part of this creation. And if you can't find God in that, I don't know where you find it. So, Sundal, what's your motivation? Why are you out there? You're a truth seeker and healer. What's your motivation to get this information out? Why are you so interested in this?
Because I can see all the deceptions and the inversions and the suffering that's caused by people not being awake to the truth. All the problems that we see in like governments and, society are reflections on, what's happening within the human psyche and the mental prisons that we shackle ourselves with. So if humans can learn to get free within their own lives, then they can improve their relationships, then they can improve their families, then they can improve their communities, they can improve society, and we all heal together.
Yes.
Well, you must
collective consciousness. Wait, let's break down what you were saying though about going within, because if we can change within, what did you say? Within is without, whatever. If somebody we know and we love, the law of correspondence. Is really, they got a tight trauma. They're tied to something dark and negative, so they're just spewing negative. Can you go alongside people and help them, or are they just considered non-player characters and they just have to be reincarnated and live better, do better? Yeah,
so I mean, I've talked about this extensively in my videos. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of like dark portals or serving as dark portals because of fragmentation caused by trauma. So, you know, certain aspects of their psyche have become split off, and, you know, entities are kind of running the show. So, you know, the person has to want to heal. So we have to learn how to enact healthy, loving boundaries with people who are spewing our trauma. That's why I tell, you know, all my community, don't engage with trolls on Facebook, because those are just attempts to harvest your energy. A lot of people, especially I did this in the beginning when I was like on my journey of truth and like thought that it was my mission to wake people up. I would get into so many keyboard wars with people, with these NPCs and matrix agents, and it would extract so much of my energy. And yes, it did serve some role in that it was waking other people up who were, you know, observing some of these online interactions. And I knew that it was mainly for those people, not the troll in question. But sometimes it just really steals your peace. And I feel like my energy is better spent actually producing content and putting the content out there rather than engaging in individual battles with. And I think that people who are awake right now need to actually step forward into positions of leadership now and start creating content that will have like a wider distribution than just engaging with people who are hosting entities.
Right.
You must have been very excited over this last 2.5 years for all this chaos to be happening in this world.
Because people waking up, you mean?
Yeah. Well, not only that. I mean, I have been I feel like up to this point, I've been meant for this last 3 years, right?
Yeah. But perhaps you were born for such a time as this.
I'm not you know, playing down the fact that real suffering's occurring and everything like that. I'm talking more about that. My God, could we go another year with this matrix of living plugged in and you know, farming to ourselves and these entities feeding off on us without us being aware of this? I mean, it seems like this is an opportunity for humanity to wake up, look the bigger picture of reality, the surreal reality that we're actually living in.
Yeah, I do feel like these times are absolutely transformational. And when it happened, when the pandemic came about, it was like, and I spoke to loads of other. Yes, exactly. When I spoke to loads of other like light workers and starseeds, it was like a lot of people had the experience that we were like suddenly switched on, because, you know, I was just working as like an international model before the pandemic happened, and I was making, you know, videos on YouTube and talking about truth and natural justice and universal law and morality and things like that and my spiritual journey. But it was when the pandemic happened, I started taking that so much more seriously. I was initiated into the Himalayan Kriya Yoga system, which is an incredible ascension technology that not just detoxes trauma from the body, but it also opens up our multidimensional gifts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful. So I was in Bali at the time that the pandemic started, and then got stuck there. And then got initiated into the system. So it was like it was all divinely orchestrated. And then I found my mentor who trained me in quantum fieldwork as well.
Quantum fieldwork.
Through a friend.
I mean, we need to break down all of this. Yeah. This is incredible.
I know. But I have to say, I don't think you're the epitome of the universal perception of what a model is, because not many talk about that on that level of quantum
You're way
field.
more beautiful now that your inner beauty is like smart.
You know, and we may be surprised. There may be a lot more models out there who'd never given
That's
a chance
true.
to express themselves, right? But point being,
people.
Then you know, and you would know because you're in it. So, so break down what Shannon was saying is when this quantum field we're in right now, like, you know, when the movie The Matrix, where Neo realizes he stops the bullets and he realizes that what he sees is not real, and it's really more this green kind of frequency energy flowing, and it's this very fluid environment, more so, right? He had this awakening, and I think that's symbolic of what we're experiencing now.
And also
this last
green screen, which is interesting. If you have a green screen behind you, you can see anything you want to see.
Yeah, it is. Anyway. It is a nice little symbolism that.
Yeah.
So here it is. People are waking up, and you're waking up as well. I mean, you may be sharing your beliefs, but every step of the way, you're growing and learning. So what path are you on right now? What are you hoping to grow into?
Well, I've basically dropped a lot of the fears that I had about stepping up into a position of leadership. I think a lot of people, especially a lot of the clients that I talk to at the moment, and people who are very spiritually gifted, have a lot of like crucifixion implants, which my teacher, Emily Harris, teaches us how to identify them and remove them.
What is that?
It's basically like an implant that you get in your light body, and it runs a program. So again, it's the crucifixion. It's like the idea that if you stand for truth and love frequency as Christ did, that you will be persecuted. And so many people have this belief that if they actually stand up for the truth, that they will be hunted down, that they'll be crucified. So it's a very, very common belief system. So I was able to clear a lot of that using,
So that's in our etheric field, this kind of program. So this is why you're saying a lot of Christians, let's say Christians, I'm sure the other religions, why they are not standing up and they're waiting for Jesus to come back because they're not standing up.
Okay.
Well, that may be a reason.
He just always is insulting Christians.
I am not insulting. I'm trying to understand it. Okay. I'm not insulting it. What if that's true?
Yeah. Well, Jesus does say we're going to be persecuted for telling the truth in the Bible. So that's probably...
Hence the crucifix cross came from.
Where we're taught to like pick up our cross every day, basically, and carry it like it's a burden.
That's what the Bible teaches.
There's a lot of texts from the Bible that were removed, that the Council of Nicaea removed from the Bible, and I haven't read all of them, but I definitely recommend everyone go out and read them. I think Gospel of Thomas is one of them. I think there's one called the Gospel of Q. I mean, I heard about that on Netflix.
The Book of Enoch.
The Book of Enoch.
Yeah, and Mary Magdalene. Yeah, and so on. Even the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are not part of it, but it was back then. But okay, so if that's true, let's just go across all religions, so it's not just Christianity. And Shannon gets upset here.
No, I don't. You're just like
what if
that's what it means about persecuted. That's it.
No, it's called bullying.
Yeah,
that's not persecuted. All right. So Sundal, what if all religions have this fear that's I guess in this field around us, right? Our etheric field, or whatever you call it, this fear of expressing ourselves because of persecution. What if that's the case? How do you actually step up and face that? You said you have to face that fear, right? You have to face it. You can't ignore it.
Well, this is what a lot of the ancient mystics and tantrics would do to overcome their fear of death, because ultimately it's a fear of death, right? They would actually engage in a lot of these, practices, these sadhanas and ascension technologies like, Kriya Yoga and things like that, to actually have, out-of-body experiences or experiences of bilocation. And, a lot of the students that I've initiated into the Kriya Yoga system through my course, Reclaim Your Crown, have started to open up some of those multidimensional gifts. So when you have the experience of just popping out of your body, or bilocating into another body during a dream or a state of deep meditation, you realize that these bodies, our consciousness is actually not contained in these bodies. Our body is actually like a channel for our consciousness, and we're not the body. So, and this is what Jesus actually came to show people. This is how he was able to resurrect after the crucifixion, to show people that your body is just a vessel. And once you activate your multidimensional gifts. I mean, they talk about this in Autobiography of a Yogi, where Paramahansa Yogananda's guru actually appears to him in a physical form after his death, in the same way that Jesus appeared to his disciples after his death, because he had basically, moved into the astrals, and from the astrals he was actually able to conjure a physical body. So these are kind of very esoteric truths that have been hidden from humanity that a lot of people don't realize that we're actually able to do.
Yeah.
So once you know these things, nobody can touch you. You're like, yeah, okay, you want to kill my physical body? That's cool.
Go ahead. Can we talk, because you touched upon dreaming. Is that lucid dreaming?
Lucid dreaming, I mean, even normal dreaming, we're, popping off to different dimensions, we're waking up in different parallel versions of ourselves. The more lucid you can become in the dream space, the more control you have over the dream space. And some of the dreams that we have are in different dimensions. So some of them are astral dreams, some of them are even higher. Some of them are actually I've actually bilocated into different physical bodies that I think are other parallel versions of me.
What about the terrible nightmares, though? Can we not have those be different realities?
Yeah, so I actually teach people. There's a video on my YouTube channel where where it's called "Why You Fight Sleep and What Dreams Mean." A lot of light workers are getting targeted in their dreams by astral demons and things like that. So there's a price shield that you can, enact around your light body that will protect you in the dream space.
That is so good. And protecting yourself, that's another thing. How do people, especially empaths, because our energy is 8 feet forward and 8 feet behind us. Basically, it's like 16 feet.
6 foot. You can't be in people 6 foot.
No, that's Dr. Fauci. But if you were to walk into a room and sometimes, especially empaths, you feel so heavy and you feel like scared or frightened. Is there any way to protect ourselves from anybody who wants to harvest our energy and they don't even know that they're doing it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, once you start to, so my teacher, Emily, she teaches us about energy management and how to tune into the wisdom of your body and your gut and everything like that so that you can notice when somebody's energy is affecting you. You can also enact healthy boundaries and things like that. Definitely enacting the Christ shield will protect your energy. Like, I don't really empath on other people's energy that much anymore. I can if I choose to.
Right.
So I do with my clients. I open up their field, I open up my own field, and then I can feel what they're feeling in their body within my own body. But I don't do that unconsciously anymore because I know.
Incredible.
So Sundal, so here it is. You're facing your fears. You're seeing things in a more of a metaphysical, broader picture, universal principles. However, how do you deal with day-to-day life? I mean, you got food shortages here. You have the supply chain being broken down. You have laws that are being implemented that are just insane in your day-to-day life. Food preparation. Are you doing anything in this three-dimensional reality to deal with that aspect of reality, or are you just staying in this reality
vibration?
This vibration where we are right now?
I mean, about 6 months ago or a year ago, I did start prepping a little bit. So I started buying bulk food and stuff like that. And then I just ended up eating it all. We haven't had so many issues with food shortages here in London. I mean, maybe it's because we're a major city, but definitely inflation is a problem.
Okay. But my point is, this is called denial-based positive thinking. I mean, is there a point where you could be in your mindset where you're not looking at reality because you don't want to look at that reality because you want to focus on the 5D reality, and it's denial-based positive thinking where you're denying the present reality and not prepping, not doing these things because you said I'm just not going to create it, but yet collectively these things are happening all around you.
What? So you're talking about if people start preparing for it, then they end up manifesting it?
Yes. Is that part of that? Or is that they're prepping and they're just being smart about it and practical and they're thinking, hey, if this happens, at least I'll have some food and water,
It depends on how fear-driven they are. I think it's good to prep, get some emergency food supplies if that's how people feel that they should behave. I mean, we generally bulk buy in our house anyway. We generally bulk buy, rice and things like that anyway. So, we've always done that.
Okay,
so
I guess my question is a balance there, isn't there? It's not just one or the other, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to be super fear-driven about it. I think it's important to be prepared, though.
Yeah.
You may not be, but somebody in your family may be more concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, some of my family are a little bit matrixy. They're not too concerned, but they're definitely noticing, obviously, the problems with the fuel prices and energy prices and inflation and things like that. I've definitely been preparing by buying gold and silver because fiat currency is just, going down.
That's a very pragmatic approach. See, that's when I hear people talking about that, and also the 5D experience, I could get behind that. But when one denies the other, then I think they're not positioned in this reality, this three-dimensional world, and they're not in there. We're here for a reason,
Yeah, you got to be balanced. You got to be balanced. You've got to acknowledge what's happening in your reality, but also being optimistic about what's coming, because that's also how we manifest a better future, by being optimistic and knowing that.
Yes.
So
all right, we got to go though, because we have another guest coming in. So Sundal, how can people follow you and also be part of your community?
So I'm pretty active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Ishtar the Moon. And then they can also just search my name on YouTube, Sundal Roy. And there's loads of videos there talking about all of different universal law, Hieros, Gamos, healthy relationships, healing, all of that stuff.
Great. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back on where we can have more time because very, very wealth of knowledge. We appreciate you. All right, guys, when we come back, we have Aura coming in.
Yes, Aura. Yeah. And more to come,
She
guys.
talks about sexual healing.
Sexual healing. Got to get that on.